Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Worn and Wound podcast. I'm your host today, Kat Shoulders, taking over for Zach Kazan, who is somewhere in the snowy mountains of Vail, I hope, at this point. We are missing him today, but we've got a fun group and a really actually fun topic today. I am joined by Liam O'Donnell in the office. How are you, Liam? Good to be here. Brooklyn, and Garrett. Garrett, how you doing?
I'm hanging in there. It's a nice chilly morning in New York. I love it.
Yeah. It's gotten back cold here in Nashville too. We had like a week of summer weather, which threw me for a loop with my allergies and sickness, but it's back to feeling like winter. So feels good. Well, we've got a fun topic today. We're going to be talking about underrated field watches, or we could call them watches that we also don't think get enough love in the community, which I'm really excited about. I took a peek at some of both of your picks, and I'm actually really excited to dig into them. But first, let's do our honorary wrist check. Liam, let's start with you. What are you wearing today?
Today, I'm wearing the SKX 031, one of the earlier SKX models that has the crown at 3 o'clock as opposed to 4. And it also has the old text on the dial that says water 10 bar resist. And it's got sort of the applied Seiko logo as well. And I've got it on a strap code Jubilee bracelet.
Very cool. Yeah. Pull it up to the camera a little bit. The bezel looks a little different too.
It's, I haven't changed it. It's the one that came on it. But it's sort of that, classic sort of aluminium.
Very cool.
Press fit one.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah. Nice. What are you wearing, Garrett?
I have, the aptly named Elliot Brown Holden. It's the Doodle dial with the field.
Wait, what is it? What dial? Doodle?
Yeah, so they did a run of limited kind of hand doodled is what they call them, dialed.
Yeah.
In New York, and so when I went up, they had this one that was a nice field illustration, some mountains in the background, just absolutely like the perfect watch for today's topic.
Yeah.
So I had to pick that one out.
Yeah, I know you're a huge Elliot Brown fan, as am I. I think they have some really cool watches, and excited that they're getting a little bit more love nowadays too.
Yeah. Was that your most worn watch of the year last year, Garrett?
No, it was a different Elliot Brown.
Yeah.
It was the
loom dial one,
yeah,
right?
It was the loom dial GMT.
Right.
So this one might take the cake for this year. It might be the GMT again. I guess we'll find out in December.
Yeah. I mean, that's a pretty good accolade considering you also have like a Speedmaster in your collection too.
This is true. Yeah, it dethroned the Grail, kind of. So it definitely inked its way into.
That says a lot. It says a lot about the watch. Yeah, really cool. I'm wearing the Christopher Ward Brooklynite today. The loco that we did, which is pretty fun and cool.
I love that one.
Wore it yesterday for my birthday dinner, which was nice. It's a watch that I've started wearing it more out of the house. I don't leave the house very often, and and people comment on it, which is really cool. It's a really fun watch. That I love that. I love when I have a watch that people pay attention to and comment on and ask questions about. So it's obviously a really fun collab and something that kind of commemorated 10 years of the Wind Up Fair and Worn and Wound. So I'm really proud of this one.
What's the general take or reaction that people get?
Just asking what it is.
Give you
just what is that watch? What is the brand? Which is really cool. And then I'm obviously happy to take it off and show them, and they're always just like, wow. And then they turn it over and they're like, oh my gosh, this is really cool. And then you get into the rabbit hole of mechanical watches, and I always find people's background on it pretty interesting. Most people do have stories surrounding an automated or mechanical watch through a parent or a grandparent or something. But yeah, most people are obviously wearing Apple Watches or some sort of fitness band. But I think it's like these are the conversations that get people interested in watches again, though. And I know certainly for me, when I was sort of getting into it 8 years ago or so, and finding other people that were wearing mechanical watches was really cool, and I always wanted to talk to them about it. But you never know.
Yeah.
Maybe you convert people through these conversations.
I certainly hope so. I mean, the more the merrier. But a watch like that, I think, is such a great conversation starter because it's a mechanical marvel. It has so much depth and height in sort of inside the dial and on the back. Like it just looks like a small city. It kind of reminds me of sort of the way that Erlanger and Zuno, their movements look on the back, where you have plates and gears at all different heights. It sort of gives you this really beautiful dimensionality.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. No, I love this one. Well, cool. Well, I'm excited to dig into our topic today. First I want to ask each of you, what does a field watch mean? Because I don't think there's like a true definition out there. I think there's a lot of different definitions. When we think of things like dive watches, my mind automatically goes to, okay, something with a dive bezel, water resistance, easy to read. But what is a field watch? What does that encapsulate for maybe both you, Liam and Garrett? No rush.
I thought Liam was dive right into that, but I'll take it.
I think he's pondering it. He's pondering it.
He is, yeah. I would say, like, really for me, the field watch, because there's no definition to it, like you pointed out. To me, it's just really a watch at its most simple standpoint. When I think of a field watch, I think of like, what I would consider like the first field watch that would have been like a military issue.
Yeah,
and it really was just time. That's it. No bezel, no, I won't say no, but rarely was there a date complication, usually big numerals. It's just something that when, everything, you're in pure chaos, you can look down and read it, and it takes a second. You don't have to figure anything out. Super clear, super legible. I mean, that's just the best way that I can boil it down.
Yeah, I think this category, like many in sort of the watch sort of industry, is very broad. I think, to your point, Garrett, I think you could really lean on the military aspect of it. But I also think, in my mind, when I think of a field watch, I think of something that, well, you'd wear in the field, you'd wear outdoors, you'd wear doing things. And so incredible legibility is like top of my list. I think some level of water resistance, because again, I don't want to be concerned with that if I'm outdoors or doing anything rugged, perhaps. And, I personally like watches that also have good lume on them too. I think that's important if you're out on the field, if you're camping, etc. So those are the things that I look for more than maybe a 24-hour scale or something that's a little bit more military inspired. But I think maybe the inspiration for it 100% did come from the military side of things. Absolutely. What about you, Liam?
So I think like what's most interesting about field watches is that sort of the one of the few categories of watches that like almost everyone agrees on conceptually, but no one fully agrees, I guess, in practice. And that's a good thing, because we also, that results in all the beautiful field watches that we do have today. I think like on paper, a field watch, it's legible, it's durable, it's comfortable, and like not precious. And, it's something you can wear all day, not worry about, and, for lack of a better phrase, like live in, I guess. But I would say like the moment you start looking at what people actually wear, I feel like the definition like gets a little bit fuzzy, I think. Like some people want strict military tools. Some people just want the idea of a tool watch, something, honest and straightforward. So like, I think that's why the category is so compelling, because it's kind of a blank canvas for people to dream up sort of what that means to them. And I think that's why we have so many field watches today, for that reason exactly. So, and they're also like not aspirational. So like there's no sort of like preconceived idea or it doesn't have to live up to anything specific. So in that way, you're kind of free to do whatever you want when either designing one or choosing one that you want to wear every day. Cool.
Love it. All right. Well, let's go down our picks, and I'm excited to hear from both of you. So Garrett, let's start with you. What's your first pick?
Yeah.
Underrated field watches that you should be looking up. This 100%. Is what we're here for.
Yeah.
We'll put all the links in the description too. I'll mention that.
I might catch some flack for this one, but it's the OG Timex Field Expedition. It's one of those watches that like we see all over the place. You know, I grew up like shopping in Walmarts in Kentucky.
Yeah.
They always had a whole rack of them. And like, you know, maybe for some of us, it's the starter watch. But I think that at a certain point, you know, the community in general kind of like stops looking at them and like, oh, that's an entry level watch. And while it is, it's such a great watch for the price point. I mean, most of them are sub $100. You can get it on leather. You can get it on nylon. They've got some level of water resistance. And if you get like, you know, if you splurge a little bit, you can get that Indiglo dial, which is one of the coolest features, especially like when you're getting into watches. And don't get me wrong, like I love great lume. I love lume. But to be in a pitch black room for hours and to be able to just press the crown and my whole watch lights up, fantastic. Absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, it is a really cool feature. You know, it's funny because we think about these more expensive watches, and a lot of the watch brands are, you know, they're coming out with these fully lume dials and, you know, charging more for it sometimes, and it's just this kind of cool complication. And then you have like $150 Timex that has the Indiglo dial that, you know, occasionally you'll have to replace the battery on, but like is also incredibly legible, to your point. And yeah, I absolutely see like the watch community tends to have the starter watches that they quickly move beyond. My dad wore a Timex Expedition for years and beat that thing and, you know, trashed it and then would buy another one. And they serve a purpose. And I think that's a great pick. And I think that's something that we're quick to look past, maybe because of the commonality of the brand and its availability everywhere. But I think that's an awesome pick for your 3. Liam, do you have any thoughts on it?
I love Timex as a brand in general. I love the Indiglo technology. One of my very first watches was a watch that had that Indiglo feature. And I actually hadn't thought about it up until now when you just mentioned that. So it was a nice reminiscent.
What is the price point of those, Garrett? Have they gone up in price?
So I like filtered it, like really filtered down to exactly what I wanted. The cheapest one I could find with Indiglo with 20 millimeter lugs, without like any weird or crazy complications, that was an analog dial, was like $70 from Timex Direct.
It's pretty awesome.
So like I guarantee if you go to your local Walmart or big box store, you might find one on clearance for like $35-$40. Which like no better way to get into watches at that price point.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a great first field watch. Absolutely. Or you know, for a kid that's getting into watches too, I think it's a great pickup. I wish I had that watch when I was 13, you know?
Fair.
Yeah. Like, you know, first day of high school, like buy a watch like that, maybe, you know?
Yeah. I'm very curious. So, Liam, you have a 2-year-old, right? And not quite at the school level yet, but I am curious, like what kids are wearing, because I think kids are wearing more analog watches now. I feel like Casios have come back in style, and I don't know any kids currently like in middle school or high school, but I'd be curious to know if you have kids. Let us know, what are they wearing in school, because I feel like there's a comeback of analog and maybe some digital watches too.
Yeah, totally. I think remembering back to when I was in primary school, you know, grades 1 through 7, kids were wearing, you know, cheap sort of plastic digital watches that had like their favorite cartoon characters on them.
Mickey Mouse.
It was
I had a Minnie Mouse.
Watches. It was Mickey Mouse. It was. I don't remember seeing any mechanical or sort of analog in the sense that it was, you know, three hands, but. Yeah, I think there was also sort of a lot of novelty watches as well. I remember like being at the checkout at the supermarket and you could buy a watch that stored like bubble gum inside of it and stuff like that. So, you know, I think there was all sorts of things back then. But now I don't know either. I mean, I gave Felix a Pachi watch and he wears that occasionally. And I'm trying to like introduce him to the idea of watches as early as I can. And he loves wearing it.
That's cool.
And whenever I ask him the time, he looks at it like he's reading the time.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of fun.
That's awesome. I love hearing that.
You know, I'm thinking about it. I would pay not a ton of money, but some amount of money for a watch that stored bubblegum from like in this day. That would be cool. Just imagine you're at a meetup and like, you know, a little ding and a piece of bubblegum pops out for you. That'd be fantastic.
That would be kind of cool. Or like a breath mint, or I don't know, jelly bean.
There you go. Yeah, one of those.
I think I've told this story on the podcast before, but quickly, I stole a watch from my cousin when I was, I think, around 5 in kindergarten, and he had a Ninja Turtles watch, which I thought was the coolest thing around. It was a digital watch that had the Ninja Turtles on it, and it like flipped up, like the dial flipped up, and there was like this cool, digital display. And I got caught, obviously, because I was 5. But yeah, those watches are so cool, and I don't quite know if they're still made. I'm sure I'd have to dig into it a little bit, but
oh, I'm sure they are.
Yeah, watches were just so prominent. I think, especially in like the late '80s, early '90s, still like that digital age. But even more now.
There wasn't an alternative.
Yeah, there was no phones.
There wasn't phones.
I had to have the time. I had to know when to come home. Just when the sun went down, that was kind of my curfew.
Yeah.
All right, Liam, what's your first pick?
So my first pick is the Baltic Hermetique Tourer. And like for me, this one's interesting because I think when people think of Baltic, they usually think, vintage leaning, but almost dressy pieces. I feel like they're really well known for their dressy pieces at the moment. And so like the Hermetique Tourer doesn't totally like abandon that because it still feels elegant. There's lots of amazing colors you can get it in. So it can also be a field watch, but also be a very vibrant watch at the same time, which I think is really fun. But I think, it also works as a field watch for me. I think it sort of ticks all the boxes. It's not shouting to sort of be rugged. It's just like more confident, I think. And it doesn't need fake patina. It doesn't need oversized numerals to prove that it belongs outdoors. And I think what I like most is that it feels like a field watch for real life. Like it's not a reenactment. It's not like a cosplay. You could wear it hiking. You could, wear it to a dinner even, I think, especially with some of the fun colors that they've got. And I don't think it would like feel out of place. And that to me, like that versatility is kind of like the whole point, I think, of a modern field watch, at least to me anyway. So yeah, I think honestly, I don't hear this one talked about as much as I would like to hear in sort of field watch conversations. I don't think I've ever heard it come up in field watch conversations because I think it checks a lot of boxes without feeling generic.
Yeah, I think the go-to for a lot of the community is, obviously Hamilton, right? I think that's like the number one, and then you can go into Marathon, and then to some of these other watch brands that again lean really heavily into like the military-inspired, field issued watches. But I like this pick. It's a little bit out of pocket. I would not have immediately thought of this watch, but I think it fits those categories quite well, and I could totally see it being used as a field watch too. When I think of Baltic, my mind always goes to their divers for some reason. Maybe that's just what I've sort of known them for. They're vintage inspired divers, but this is a great pick. I like it. So for my first one, I'm going to go with Weiss Watch Company, who's based actually here in Nashville now. And they, this is actually my most forward-leaning, like military-inspired watch, but this is their standard issue field watch. I just went with like the 38 millimeter because I think that's a great field watch size. I think it's very universal. They do a date on it, but I think it takes the elements of military-inspired, but again, I think it's refreshed, renewed. It's very modern. These are actually, hand built here in Nashville too. I think one of the few brands that he's making, I can't remember, maybe like 75 to 80% of his parts. So that's kind of a cool thing as well, if you're into that. But, he's got all of these different color dials. Blue, black, white. I particularly love the latte color dial that he does. I think it looks really, really nice. But these watches, they're not overly polished. I think that's something that's a lookout for me when I think of a field watch. I don't want something incredibly shiny. I like the more brushed finishing, and I love how these are all brushed. And I think that to your point, Liam, like this is something I could see worn out in the field outdoors, but also worn like on a really nice leather strap. He's got some photos of it like on a Horween leather. Could easily be dressed up too.
I'm looking at that now.
know, but yeah, I think, you know, again, I don't think he's always considered in that like field watch category, even though a lot of his watches are sort of military inspired. But I think this is just like an underrated brand in general. And I've been lucky enough to visit him in town and see how he handcrafts everything in the cases and screws. And it's just really awesome. But yeah, these are made to order too. So you can kind of curate them. And he often does these really, really cool limited edition dials with colors inspired by, you know, Land Rovers and stuff like that too, which I really like. But yeah, that's my first pick. Yeah, and I'll just say too, like, you know, 100-meter water resistance, sort of all of the things that you kind of expect to see in a field watch.
Yeah, no, I think this one's really cool. It has, you know, a great sized crown. I feel like that's
a little big
sort
crown,
of really important in today's age
true.
and something that's easily overlooked when I think a lot of watches from, you know, 60s through 80s like just had very petite crowns.
Yeah.
So like including field watches too. So this to me is like an immediate sort of improvement on that archetype. And then I agree, all brushing just feels way more utility and versatile.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like this watch a lot.
Yeah, these really, I think they could lean either way. I think that, again, you can dress them up on a nice leather. He's got, I think, the white dial in particular on this like green canvas strap, and that's like screaming field watch to me, like outdoors. That's what I would wear it on, or maybe even a NATO strap. And it can kind of really like fit each category, but incredibly legible, very easy to read. Again, nice lume on the hands. I imagine, you know, you'd be able to read this in the dark pretty easily. But that's my first pick. So going around the table again, Garrett, what you got?
All right. Yeah. So just dive right into this one. The Prevail Onward Future. This brand got an absolute ton of love when it first hit the market, and rightfully so. They're cool, interesting, futuristic, but slightly tactical. Not like in a military way, but like a Halo kind of way, I guess is a good way to put it.
Yeah.
They did a new colorway that's the shadow gray. So it's like PVD case, gray dial with just a splash of teal for an accent color.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. And I think they've been out for a month or two at this point. Like, I haven't really seen about it. I heard rumors of it, and we were looking at watches, and like just random shower thought was like, oh, that's the watch that like, it just looks so cool. I absolutely love it.
This is an awesome pick. First of all, the price point, $275. Like that is awesome. And you get this like really overbuilt tool watch, field watch, really. I mean, that's what these are, but I like a big over-engineered watch. Like I like the Seiko Monster. I like things that are just like built for the apocalypse, you know, in a way. Yeah. And I feel like this watch is that. Like,
don't you have the Proploff cat?
No, it's a want. It's on my list one of these days.
Oh.
So that was one of the things that like 100% sold this for me as I got looking at it, and I forgot that these had solid lugs.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, like, what's better than a watch that you're gonna beat against a rock, a tree, whatever, than an absolute just solid piece of metal to keep it on your wrist.
This is so cool. This is a really, really awesome pick.
I love the lume on this thing.
What's that? The lume?
I said I love the lume on this thing.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, that's sick. And a great price too.
I know. Yeah, I mean it's got a Ronda quartz movement inside, which I think is okay. And 200-meter water resistance. You get a nice sapphire crystal, 20-millimeter lug width, so definitely a strap monster. To your point, Garrett. But yeah, this is 42 millimeter.
I'm not buying it for the movement.
No, you're not. I mean, you want something. You obviously want something that I think the Ronda movement will give you the double tick when it's getting low on powers. Or I have to double check, but I think this 513 is one that does that. So at least you know when you're getting to a point where you need to change your battery out. But I think what would make this watch even cooler, if you're listening, guys at Prevail, make a solar version, a solar course. Like that to me is like, that would be killer.
You're stepping on my toes for my third pick, Kat.
But no, this is a really cool one, and not one that I would immediately think of in the like field watch world, because I think the design is so different, right? Like it almost like from afar, it almost looks like a dive watch, and then you're like, oh no, it's not. yeah, this case is kind of crazy. I love these. I'm drawn to them when I come to the office, and they're sitting on the counter at the showroom. But yeah, really, really good pick.
Yeah, and you can get it smooth bezel, which I think is the Explorer. You can get it the Tactical, I think is what they call it, which is a bit more rigid.
Yeah.
When you go to the Tactical, you lose the numerals. So for my argument's sake, got to go with the Explorer, but you can't go wrong with either one of these.
Yeah. Really awesome. Great price point. Really great price point. All right, Liam, what do you got?
So my second pick is the Farah Pembroke 2. And to me, like, this one feels like Farah saying, like, okay, but what if a field watch didn't have to be, like, serious all the time? Like, it's still legible, it's still practical, it's very wearable, but also it's got, like, a ton of personality too. Little hits of color, like a dial that kind of feels intentional, rather than, like, being purely utilitarian, which I think is great, because there's so many that already do that, you know. So I think, you know, field watches get boring really fast because a lot of people are chasing sort of the military tropes, and that's okay. That's okay. We need watches that do that. But I think the Pembroke 2 feels like a reminder that these watches can also, like, be enjoyable too, in the sense that they're nice to look at. And, you know, it's the kind of watch that I think if you glance down at it and it makes you, like, smile a little, and I don't think that disqualifies it from being, like, a field watch. But if anything, like, I don't know, to me it makes it sort of, makes it more wearable. You'll wear it more often, I think. And to me, this is, like, a great example of adding, you know, adding design to functionality.
Sure.
And instead of sort of fighting it, I guess.
Yeah, and it looks like it comes in at like just about $1,200. You can get it, looks like, on a strap or a bracelet. Oh no, actually they're both included. They're both included. Oh, that's nice. It's nice to have both. Yeah, this reminds me a little bit of the, like, Oris pointer date in sort of its design, but I think a little bit more fun, which I think is what Farah does, right? They have really fun designs and they play with color a lot. And I think, again, the Oris pointer date comes up a lot in these conversations of field watches anyway, right? It's like a fan favorite, but didn't mean to knock my mic over there. Sorry about that, listeners. But this is like, a very underrated pick, but that same sort of date functionality around the dial there, which I quite like. I wonder what the significance is of 28, 29, 30, 31 being in red. I'm not quite sure, but they have some days of the month that are highlighted in red, which should just be for, like, a little bit of a, I don't know, you're getting close to the end of the month or something. Interesting.
I mean, my mind goes right to, like, February 28th, 29th, just because that's next month. But no, I need to dive into that, because now that you say it, I can't unsee it.
Very cool. And it looks like it's got really awesome loom. And I've been hands-on with Farahs in the past, and they do loom very, really well. So this is a really cool pick. I feel like I'm learning about all these watches today, guys. Thank you.
Same.
All right. So my next pick is one that I own, actually. This is the Clemence Munroe. We are good friends with Tom over at Clemence, and I was able to see these watches in person maybe a year or two ago, and then just fell in love and ended up picking up one for myself. But it's got a very Explorer-esque sort of design to it. But what I love about these watches is obviously the price point. These are coming in at, like, I think close to $600 maybe, US dollars. But I just am highly impressed with the level of finishing on this watch for this price point. And I've owned a 36 millimeter Explorer in the past. I kind of would wear this over an Explorer. I find the color options really great. I like all of it was really hard for me to actually pick a color dial. I forgot the one that I went with. I always forget the name of it. It's like, it's not the
multicolored one, right?
Yeah, is it the Ridgeline?
That is the Ridgeline, yeah.
Maybe it's the Ridgeline, yeah. And it's got this, like, you know, kind of tricolor dial. But the loom is incredible on this watch. The size is fantastic, 37.5 45 millimeter lug to lug. So I think it does fit quite a lot of wrist. 150 meter water resistance. He uses, 316L steel. Again, I just feel like for the price point, you are essentially getting kind of an Explorer alternative. And I have been just over the moon with this watch. I completely love it. And I think for the price point, the finishing is amazing. And I do love that he offers these really unique colors and dials. And this yellow dial he has too, sort of like a yellow-orange. I think is
like a sunflower.
Yeah, it's yellow. Wonderful. Like if I had to pick another one up, but I would easily pick up that one. But they look good on straps.
That's gonna be like
incredible on the bracelet.
Helios Seaforth.
Yeah.
Kind of vibes.
Totally. But I've been incredibly happy with mine. And I feel like, he's a new brand, one that many people probably haven't heard of. He was lucky enough to attend the Wind Up Fair back in October. I hope that he comes to more and more people sort of become aware of his brand. But this is just, I think this is just like a home run for me. And I think if you're looking for an affordable Explorer alternative, like this is the watch, 100%.
Yeah,
I'd go to.
That Ridgeline colorway is incredible.
Yeah. I forgot. There's two different ones. There's like one that's like orange and blue and like teal, and then there's like
the one I'm looking at is teal, orange, and like navy blue.
Yeah, mine is a different version of that. Again, I'm trying to like the site for it, but I'll put a link in the show notes so people can see. But like this kind of just scratches that kind of skipper kind of itch that I whenever I see it in a watch, I'm like, oh, that looks like a skipper, and this colorway kind of gives me that. Yeah, and I mean, you want a watch to be, really highly legible, first of all. And I think this is something that could easily play the part of going from field watch to sort of a dressier piece, as the Explorer does, I think in general. But I feel like this is a little bit more utilitarian than, I'd argue the Explorer, what the Explorer has become essentially nowadays. Yeah.
Bold words. I didn't know we were getting to a hot takes episode, but
I don't think that's a hot take. I think most of Rolex is like turned into something that's a little bit more high luxury and less tool driven.
No, 100%.
And in general, I think that's just kind of the direction they've moved in. But certainly they weren't originally thought of as that, and they were used as like tools in the field and dive and etc. Mountaineers and stuff like that. But I love this watch, and I just can't say anything bad about it. It's awesome. It's so good for the price point.
Yeah, great pick, Kat. I didn't know anything about these guys until you mentioned it just then. So.
Yeah, I'll bring it in next time I'm in the office really and you can check it out.
I'd love to see it.
Yeah. All right, Garrett, what's your last one on your list?
All right. You stepped on my toes with the solar comment on the last one. Okay. I went with the Dryden Heartlander Solar. Obviously when you think of solar movements, I think kind of the Echo Drive is kind of top of mind for a lot of people, and it's fantastic. I wanted to go with something a little bit different just because it is so popular. So with this one, they're obviously solar powered. So the more you're outdoors, the more your watch is powered. Don't have to worry about changing your batteries.
Yeah.
Super approachable price point. I think they're $280 on rubber, $380 on bracelet. However you want to go there, along with some really fun colorways just to kind of switch it up. So, if you want to low key go with black, you want to go bold, you got greens and blues. Just super interesting. I actually didn't realize it until New York, but I have talked with, I think his name is Jerry, and if it's not, I apologize. But I've talked with him so many times at different windups, never realized who he was until we were in New York, and then it just all clicked. The eyes went wide. Super nice guy, super interesting brand. Definitely, I haven't seen these get a ton of love, but I love the concept behind them. And solar at that price point, super approachable, makes a ton of absolute sense.
Yeah.
So that rounds out my third pick, and I think it's a great one.
It is a great one. I actually didn't. I'm aware of Dryden. I've obviously been following them for a long time, but I wasn't aware that this had a solar movement. So that's really cool. Yeah.
I think they have an auto and a quartz version as well, but solar, just the solar is what sold this for me and put it in there.
Yeah, I like the pop of the second hand and the font that they use for the Heartlander too. I really like that touch on the dial.
Yeah, me too.
And it's got a really fun sunflower on the case back, which
I'm trying to get
something,
to a
a little whimsical but fun at the same time. And I think it's on the crown too.
What's the price point of these, Garrett?
$280 to $380 rotor bracelet.
Yeah, that's not bad. Not bad at all. Very cool.
Yeah, quick change bracelet, a great clasp. Yeah, this is phenomenal value for the money.
Awesome pick.
Yeah, great pick.
Sweet. All right, Liam, what you got? Do you have any more picks?
All right. Yeah, this is my last one. So my last pick was the Formex Field Automatic in any of the colors, but I love the ash gray in 40 mil. But to me, I don't know, this one might be the most like quietly impressive of all three. I think Formex doesn't get talked about enough in general, and I think that's because they're not like chasing nostalgia hype, and they're just building like really, really well thought out watches. And the ash gray to me, I think is a great choice because it's a little more interesting than black, and you get, you can still sort of see the texture of the dial with the gray. And it's, less expected than the green. I think everyone wants a green or some sort of like tan color, but it kind of shifts depending on the light, which I think is really cool. What stands out to me mostly, and this is true, I think for all Formex, is like how it's finished.
Yeah.
It's not fancy, but it feels really solid. Like everything's sort of resolved, the case, the proportions, the way it sits on the wrist. And, if the Baltic, I think, is like about like good vibes, I think the Fair is like about personality, and the Formex is purely like execution.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, I guess, like the grown-up answer to what a field watch is today, I think.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. Are those titanium?
They have to be. So. They're so lightweight. I can't imagine them not being titanium.
But they've got this like sandblasted, sort of, I don't know if it is technically sandblasted, sort of case.
All right, I cheated. I looked it up. They are. They're grade 2 titanium.
Yeah, that's it. That's a good call out.
Yep. And you've got this really cool like fabric hook and loop strap as well. You can get, which is really unique. I don't think there's a lot of brands doing a sort of hook and loop strap that looks this good.
Yeah.
And like the weave on it has a really cool texture as well. And I think most of all, what sets this apart from most field watches is the font that they chose for everything. The date, the numerals, the name of the watch on the dial down at 6 o'clock.
Yeah, that's a great pick. I almost also went with that one. I love they have a light blue dial of that watch, of a field watch, and every time I see someone wearing it at like a wind up, I am very drawn to it. I think it's incredible. And I love that sandwich dial that they do, and the font is fun. I think Formex is just underrated in general, but particularly these field watches, they're fun. They come in at a little bit of a lesser price point than some of their like high end stuff that they're doing now with like ceramic material and etc. So I think if you're looking at picking up a Formex, like this is definitely one. I'm a huge fan of the brand, and I own one of their dive watches, and I think they're an incredible value for money when it comes to Swiss watchmaking, and something that feels really high end, but at a more affordable price point. And the colors that they've done, I think what I think of is like they feel very retro to me in the colorways that they chose for these models. And great call out, Liam, on the loop strap. It's very sort of Apple Watch reminiscent, but there's not a lot of brands that use that strap. The only one I can think of that I've seen is like the Louis Gerard Alain Silverstein watch collab that they use that sort of strap too. But it's a perfect strap for a field watch. Like, I don't know why more brands don't incorporate something like that.
Yeah,
it's very cool.
Can rip it on,
very
rip
comfortable.
It off. I mean, it ruins your sound discipline, but it'll do.
Yeah, exactly.
No way to be stealthy with Velcro. Why it's on so many military applications, I have no idea.
Yeah,
but it is the worst thing for stealth.
It's like pulling out the old, high school wallet, and you're like,
oh,
the wallet, yeah.
I think it's every kid's rite of passage. Liam, you're gonna have to get your son one at some point. Like every kid has to own one of those wallets at some point.
Starts with the Velcro. At some point, he's got to have a chained wallet, and then we can get him a real leather one.
Yeah, the chained wallet. That's bad memories right there.
I still see people using those.
Really? Hey, good for them.
It stops pickpocketers. So
it's true. It's true. It's attached to you.
Good for motorcyclists. Actually, I find a lot of motorcyclists use them still.
Yeah, yeah. So it doesn't accidentally fall out of their back pocket. That's a good point. All right. Well, I actually changed up. I changed up my last pick on my list. Only because, like, Garrett, you kind of inspired me with the solar, and I got to thinking, and I was like, oh, actually, I own another watch in my collection that I think is a great pick, and I looked it up, and it's still available. But this is the Huckberry and Citizen ProMaster Tough Watch. We covered this watch last year. Meg wrote an article, and I did photography, and I love the watch so much I ended up buying it. And it's an all titanium field watch. It also has the Eco Drive movement. So to your point, like it's solar, it recharges in the sun. I really love the Eco Drive movements in general, but super titanium watch. So it's incredibly light, 200-meter water resistance. It's got this hefty, like gnarled crown that's really, really easy to pull out, and gives it this sort of like tough factor. It's 41.5, but I find it wears really well. I actually don't know what the lug to lug is. I'll have to measure it. But for me, I have like a 6.5-inch wrist, and I think this wears like incredibly well. It wears like a 39 to 40, I feel like, on my wrist. But I love the green. It screams sort of like field watch to me. It is incredible lume on it. All of the numerals are lume, plus the hands. This thing lights up in the dark, and it's just like the perfect grab and go watch. I think any solar quartz watches are kind of like that to me. But it comes in at like $525. Occasionally, I'm sure you can catch a sale on Huckberry. They just did a huge one for Christmas, but they regularly run sales, especially on their watches too. But and what I particularly love, you can't really see it in this pic, but it has like a domed sapphire crystal, and I really like a nice domed on a field watch with like big numerals like this. It gives that like magnifying effect. Again, just really, really easy to read at a glance. You don't even have to turn your wrist. You can kind of see it at an angle too, which is really nice. But I think a really fun watch, affordable price point, and just a watch you can just beat up and wear outdoors, at any time. And obviously fits like the sports watch category, but I think it's heavily leaning to field watch to me when I look at it.
I mean, I absolutely love that like 3 segmented hour-minute hand. That is like such a cool aspect you don't see a lot of people doing. The outline, like for the lume, is wicked cool. And then like, the fact that it comes with green dial, green ProMaster hard case, and a green watch roll, like it's an olive lover's dream.
Yeah. It's phenomenal. Yeah, I forgot about the watch case. Yeah, it is in that kind of cool ProMaster case that they do. Which I don't have any use for, but it's cool. It's cool to have. I like it's a cool packaging. Yeah, for sure.
It is. It's one of those things like I love packaging. I have no place to store it. But man, I love a cool box.
Oh, I have one. Like I have a rack similar to what you have behind you, Garrett. I have a black rack in my closet that I have just like watch boxes on. Because what else am I going to do with them? I sell them sometimes, and I want to be able to have the original packaging. But yeah, this is just like, it's a really cool watch. I will say the only downside as an owner of this watch is like probably the bracelet. It's a little jangly, a little maybe not, it's also titanium, so it just feels a little maybe too lightweight. But I've worn it exclusively on a NATO, and it's awesome. Yeah, and I've got it currently. I think I've got it currently on a nice like camo strap from like Deluxe, and it looks pretty cool on that too.
I could see this looking like really, really good on like a nice like rich leather strap that's just been absolutely beat to crap.
Yeah, totally. Well, cool. Well, guys, that's it. We went through our picks. We had some really cool ones. Ones that I was not expecting from everyone here. So thanks
you can't leave us
diving deep.
Kat. What was the original third pick?
Oh, okay. Honorary mention was the Monta Triumph. And the only reason I kind of leaned away from that last minute was that I particularly prefer their original V1 of that watch. I know, Liam, you do too. You're an owner of the Triumph. I'm an owner of it, but I don't love the new version as much. And I think it's a great alternative to an Explorer if that's what you're looking for. But I felt like it had so much of its own DNA previously, and was really its own watch in its own right, and it wasn't simply just an Explorer alternative. But now it certainly is just kind of turned into something that looks a lot like an Explorer, which isn't a bad thing. I still think they make really, really high quality watches too. But yeah, since it's not readily available anymore, the older version, I decided to shift my pick last minute. But
makes sense.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
I think it's a wonderful substitution. I think the Monta is a cool option.
Yeah.
Huckberry, Citizen.
Yeah, ProMaster. You can't go wrong with the ProMaster.
No.
They do so many cool watches. I love so much of the Citizen ProMaster line. I think I think they have a lot of things that people, even I don't even realize they have. I'm always surprised when I see new stuff coming through from them. But for the price point, really incredible purpose-built watches, I'll say. They all sort of have a purpose. Some of their flight watches with all these they're incredible. Like, they're super incredible. Yeah, really cool. Well, cool. So one question I wanted to ask before we sort of end the podcast here is, out of all of your picks, are there any from your own picks or from someone else that you'd be likely to pick up that we talked about today?
I think the Clemence is probably, if I had to buy one today, that was what I'd pick. I love that watch. I think it's beautiful. The colors, the price point, the font type that they use, it's just, it's really cool.
What about you, Garrett?
I, had my heart set going into this. It was like, if I had to pick one, I'd get the Prevail. I love that watch in the first couple of colors they did. The gray's phenomenal. You said the ProMaster, and now I'm torn between the two. So one of if I had to buy something, it would be one of those two. Yeah, I can't pick one at the moment, but it would definitely be one of those two.
Cool. I own two of the ones I picked, so I can't go with those. But I think I'd go for the Prevail. Yeah, I think I've been eyeing that watch for a long time, and it wouldn't surprise me if at some point I did pick up one. Like I said, it'd be awesome if they could do a solar movement. I think that'd be really, really cool. Because, changing battery. I have a watch, actually a couple, currently my watch box that need battery changes, and it is kind of a pain. You're like, oh, I gotta go take this in and
I've got a Timex Expedition that, absolutely love it. It's the Mystery Ranch Coyote one that you can't find anymore, that the battery died sometime in the last 6 months, and I'll replace it eventually and get it back on the wrist. But for now, it's just a really nice looking, decoration in my watch box.
Yeah. Don't leave it too long, with the battery in it. But I think if they were to come out with the solar version of that watch, I'd be 100% on board.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well, let's hope they're listening.
Maybe. Well, sure.
We know those guys. We could give a little nudge. Yeah.
Well, I also wanted to ask, I know Kazan has done this in the past, and I didn't prepare you both for this, so I apologize. Do you have some sort of culture pick or something you've picked up recently you want to give a shout out to? It could be a book, a movie, a show, maybe a restaurant, or just anything really. And I can go first if you need a second to prepare.
If you wouldn't mind.
Of course. Okay, so I picked up, I'm going to grab it here. Man, I fell into the Peter McKinnon rabbit hole, as one does often. And he did a video on this thing, maybe fall of last year, and it's called The Sendak by Peg and Owl. And it's, I don't know if you can see it there.
What?
It's a notebook book holder that also unravels here. I'll open it up here for a second.
It's also a full tool roll, pen roll, whole 9 yards.
Whoa.
So you can hold all your pens
Very
in
cool.
it, and then you can put field notes in here too. It's got these great slots, but on the back of it it's got these bigger slots for like a book, and I've got a notebook on the other side. So a big goal for me this year is to read more. I did not meet my 2025 goal. And I honestly, I've spent way too much time on social media, which I've really limited on my phone. I've taken the app off of my phone. I'm trying to kind of refocus this year. And,
good for you, Kat.
And I thank you. And I want to read more. I felt so bad I didn't meet my goal last year, and so I set a goal of at least 2 books a month. Really, I want to aim for like 3 to 4, but at bare minimum, I want to get through 2. But I'm a note taker when I read books. I like to annotate like passages and quotes and stuff, and I want to write that stuff down, and I underline and I highlight. And so my books look pretty rough by the time I'm done with them. But I saw him cover this, and it was like a great way to like carry your books around, carry your pens and highlighters and stuff. And it's wax canvas, which you guys know I love a wax canvas bag, and I just love the feel of it. And it's handmade. This woman makes them in her shop at Peg and Al, and they're not cheap. They're kind of expensive, but I think like it's the perfect package. I could not, and Garrett, I might even message you. I couldn't find anything similar to this. And I ended up just spending the money, and I bought one. And I'm so happy that I did. Like I'm really in all of the quality. It comes with this great like leather strap that goes around it too. But just a really cool thing. I'll put the link in the show notes because I know it wasn't like super descriptive of what it was. I was showing you guys what it is, but
it's really hard to describe.
That's also like a
so
tool
cool.
roll. Yeah, very cool. All right, what do you guys have? Did you have time to think?
Breather. Yeah. So this, admittedly, this was a gift from Blake. Shout out to Blake. He got all of our team one, but he got us these Fujifilm Instax cameras, which like these came out when I was in high school, and I kind of like knew about them, and I honestly had forgotten about them. And they're not in a bad way. They're toyish, I guess is the best way to put it. It's all plastic. You get what you pay for. I'll put it that way. I was not around when Polaroids came out for the first time.
You're so young.
I know I am. And I'm dating myself. Just, I'll throw it out there. I was born in 99. The back half of 99 at that.
Millennial baby.
Technically, maybe. Things depends on how you split it here nor there. There is something like so fun about just shooting a photo, getting the instant Polaroid. And I know there's like, you can get the really like new compact little printers. That's cool. But like if I have to take a photo on whatever camera, and if I have to send it somewhere to get it printed, I'm going to edit it. I'm going to do something. The moment that I captured is not there. Yeah. And so this is like raw, unfiltered. Some of the photos are not in focus. It's almost always overexposed in some parts and pitch black in the other. Yeah. And like it's just fun and gimmicky, and they're not that expensive, but it's just such a cool little like I was here in the moment, analog, no digital.
Yeah. I hope that we put an office like photo album together because I'm like really looking forward to that. And I hope that people took pictures at our holiday party that I missed too, because I really want to see some photos. Yeah.
And this is going to be a thing. Like I will take this to every wind up this year and take photos and like try to get wrist shots and gear shots and backpack shots and just like cool photos that encapsulate the moment that like, if no one else ever sees them, I'll be happy I have them. And if you ever come to the office and you can flip through whatever the album is, you'd be like, oh, Garrett found a cool piece of gear and he took a photo.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, does it save it digitally at all or no? Just plainly for print?
This is just the cartridge. Polaroid one. Yeah. There is a newer one that has like a digital save feature, which is that one's really, really cool because you can actually send photos to it and use it like a mobile printer. Different routes if you want to go that way. No, this one is just like it takes a photo and that's it. You have it and it's done. Yep.
I love that. Yeah, I'm a Polaroid kid, so my first Polaroid camera was the Spice Girls Polaroid, and
nice.
got that for like my 8th or 9th birthday. But I love those. I think they're great. And I'm so blessed that like we have really cool bosses and they gifted us that this year. Such a really fun idea. And I'm really excited. I'm going to use mine when I'm in the office 100%. So get ready. I'm going to be in everyone's faces all the time.
The flash is so bright. If you're in any kind of dark room, it is like a flashbang going off.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
I love it.
But I love it.
Mm-hmm. That's really cool. That's a great pick, Garrett. Good one. All right, Liam, have you had time to think on one?
I honestly don't have anything great to say other than a movie that I watched recently.
That's okay.
And it's called Companion, and it's with Jack Quaid, and I can't remember the female lead, but she was phenomenal. Let me bring it up real quick. But anyway, Companion, released in 2025, directed by Drew Hancock, and it's during like a weekend getaway at like a secluded lakeside.
Yeah.
And basically a group of friends find themselves sort of wrapped up in a, sort of a conspiracy. And, this is sort of futuristic in the sense that sort of humanoid androids exist, like robots that look like humans perfectly. And it's also become sort of the norm that people, like in sort of Blade Runner, you have a companion basically that you buy and that they become a companion for you, except for this one's actually real, like physically in front of you. And so as you can imagine with AI and people wanting to get more out of them, it kind of unrolls from there. So without giving it away, it's a really, really fun sort of science fiction whodunit kind of film. If it's probably the best way to put it.
I love it. I'll have to watch it. It's on my watch list. I remember watching like an early trailer of that movie and being really intrigued by it. I wasn't sure if it was a horror or comedy or maybe both.
Both. Both.
Yeah. I'll have to give it a watch.
The female lead is Sophie Thatcher.
Cool. I don't know if I've heard of her.
She was in Heretic. She was also in
Okay. Yeah.
She's in Yellow Jackets at the moment.
Yeah.
She was in Maxine.
Yeah. I know you're talking about. Yep. Very cool.
But definitely worth checking out.
Awesome. Well, we'll put all these recs in the show notes as all the watches we talked about today too. As always, thanks for listening. We had a lot of fun on this episode, and let us know if you have any ideas. Send us a message, a comment, or an email at info@wornandwound.com, and we'll take a look. We're always open to suggestions. And hopefully we'll be back next week with our lovely host, Zach Kazan. And we wish him well as he's in the mountains with Oris and hopefully looking at some cool watches that are coming soon. So we're really excited about that. And we'll get a wrap report from him when he returns. But thanks, Liam. Thanks, Garrett. And we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Thanks.
See you out there.